So, you know how we like to go deep sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a list here.
Yeah.
A list of top 7 dark anime you should never watch alone.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, this is from Hype Senpai. And I know you love to get informed quickly and thoroughly.
Absolutely.
But also we want to know,
Yeah.
like, what makes these anime so
Right.
disturbing and...
Yeah, what are they picking out specifically that makes them so scary or disturbing?
Yeah, and we're not going to watch all 7.
No.
We're just going to talk about the top 5.
Okay.
We'll count them down in reverse order.
Yeah.
From 5 to 1.
I like it.
So number 5 is Hell's Paradise,
Okay.
also known as Jigokuraku.
Right?
So the premise here,
Yeah.
according to our source,
Lay it on me.
samurais, executioners, and deadly monsters,
Okay.
all on a mysterious island
All right.
full of immortal beings.
Ooh.
And they're all looking for a cure.
Sounds like a party.
Right.
But what strikes me is it's
Yeah.
kind of like genre bending here.
Yeah.
You got the historical element of like the samurai and the executioner.
Yeah.
But then you throw in these like fantastical, almost mythical elements with this island.
Yeah, yeah.
The immortal beings.
Right, yeah.
So it's like they're searching for a cure, but it's also like...
Right, it's like historical action movie meets
Right.
monster movie.
Exactly. But why is this one
Yeah.
so dark?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Hype Senpai says it's the body horror,
Okay.
the moral decay, and the disturbing deaths.
Ooh, so we're not talking about just your
Yeah.
standard fantasy violence.
Right.
This is like
Yeah.
really getting in there.
Yeah.
So body horror.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's tapping into some primal fears
Uh-huh.
about like, you know, transformation mutilation, just
Yeah.
the vulnerability of our physical forms.
Yeah.
And then moral decay suggests that
Yeah.
these characters are really getting pushed to the edge
Oh.
and being forced to make choices that,
Yeah.
you know, erode their sense of right and wrong.
Yeah. And then disturbing deaths. Well, that sounds like
Yeah,
maybe it's graphic, but maybe it's also like
right.
it's not shying away from the consequences
These
of
are-
violence and
Yeah, like the true kind of brutality of it all.
yeah, like you're really gonna feel it.
Right.
Hype Senpai even gives us a watch it if you liked here.
Okay.
Attack on Titan,
Uh-huh.
Demon Slayer vibes.
Okay. So,
Those are both shows that have, you know,
Yeah.
their fair share of intensity
Yeah.
and dark moments for sure.
definitely.
So I think that tracks in terms of like
Yeah.
high action intensity,
Yeah.
characters facing big threats
Right.
and losses.
Yeah.
But I feel like the body horror and the moral decay
Yeah.
suggests that Hell's Paradise might get a little bit
Yeah.
more uncomfortable and grotesque than just like straight action.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like a little depth. You like to think about things.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking this one might be for you.
Okay.
All right, number 4. Paranoia Agent.
Okay.
Hype Senpai gives us a little warning here.
Oh, really?
They say, don't let the art style fool you.
Ooh. Okay.
So this is a psychological horror masterpiece
Interesting.
from Satoshi Kon.
You're-
You know him, yeah. You know Perfect Blue.
Right. Yeah.
So we're
Just
probably
things
gonna
off with your head.
get messed up a little.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's a master of like
Yeah.
exploring those psychological themes and kind of blurring the lines between
Yeah.
reality and perception.
Yeah.
So the core premise here,
Yeah.
a kid with a bat
Mm-hmm.
attacking random people in Tokyo,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then reality starts twisting and warping.
All right. So
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
I mean, that's not your typical slasher flick.
No, not at all.
The reality twisting and warping
Yes.
is like where I start to feel a little uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. It's like that uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
and unease
Yeah.
that goes beyond just like
Right.
a physical threat.
It's like psychological.
Exactly.
And it's like,
Yeah.
they say it's the reality distortion, the mental breakdowns,
Yeah.
the paranoia that makes it scary.
So that's different
Okay.
than like monsters and gore.
Totally.
Right. So Hell's Paradise, we were talking about this external threats,
Yeah.
the physical threats and the impact on morality. This
Yeah.
is like Paranoia Agent is diving into the internal landscape of fear and psychological distress.
Yeah, and that distortion of reality
Yeah.
is just so
Yeah,
creepy.
it's unsettling
Yeah.
because it undermines what we think is real,
Yeah.
and what isn't, and it can
Yeah.
mirror those feelings of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
and loss of control.
Totally.
I just think not being able to trust
Right.
your own perception
Yeah,
is super creepy.
absolutely.
Watch it if you enjoy Black Mirror psychological thrillers.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes sense, right?
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's going to leave you questioning everything.
Right.
And feeling a little uneasy.
Yeah. And you like stories that stick with you?
I do.
You like to think about them afterwards?
I do.
I think you would enjoy this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to me how
Yes.
a simple act of violence,
Yeah.
like these random attacks,
Yeah.
can be the catalyst
Yeah.
for this like widespread
Yeah.
psychological unraveling.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about
Right.
how fragile
Yeah.
our society is.
Yeah.
You know, and how easily
Right.
things can fall apart
Mm-hmm.
based on fear and uncertainty.
All right, so we are halfway there.
Halfway.
Number 3, Shiki.
Okay.
Classic horror creature,
Yeah.
vampires.
All right. It's
Like-
classic.
They say not the romantic kind.
Okay, so
Today.
we're not the sparkly kind.
No, Twilight.
Gotcha.
These are
Oh.
mysterious deaths in a small village,
Right.
and they're all linked to these vampires.
Interesting.
So I think that distinction, right? Like
Yeah.
calling out that they're not the romantic kind.
Right.
Yeah.
It sets it apart from
Yeah.
a lot of modern vampire stories.
Yeah, and it's like a little bit more
Yeah.
back to basics with the vampire.
Right, like a more monstrous kind of
Yeah.
depiction.
Yeah, and this small village setting, it
Yeah.
just makes you feel like
Right.
you can't get away.
Totally isolated
Yeah,
and vulnerable,
yeah,
and like everybody's suspicious of each other.
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think about that kind of setting?
I mean, I think it creates that
Yeah.
sense of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
And like you said, like there's nowhere to escape.
Yeah.
And it allows for like the paranoia to just fester and grow
Yeah, yeah,
in this small community.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Hype Senpai says the reasons it's scary
Uh-huh.
are creeping dread,
Okay.
moral horror,
All right.
and eerie atmosphere.
So this is like a slow burn
Yeah.
kind of horror.
Yeah, less about the jump scares, more about like the,
Right, exactly. Building the tension
Yeah.
and unease.
yeah, just like feeling unsettled.
Right.
Yeah.
Creeping dread is that gradual escalation
Yeah.
of like, oh no, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something bad is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Eerie atmosphere contributes to that feeling
Right.
of like something's off
Yeah.
in this place.
Totally.
But the moral horror element, I think, is
Yeah.
really interesting
Yeah.
because it suggests that the story
Mm-hmm.
is going to explore the ethical dilemmas
Yeah.
that both the villagers and the vampires are facing.
Right.
Right? And it might reveal
Yeah.
some of the darker aspects
Yeah.
of human nature
Yeah.
in the face of this terrifying crisis.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The watch it if you liked. Here, Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Death Note vibes.
Interesting combo.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So Salem's Lot, classic.
Little classic vampire.
Yeah, like slow
burn.
burn vampire horror and like the disintegration of
Right.
this community.
Exactly.
And Death Note, of course.
Oh yeah.
Very intense.
Psychological.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, and big questions about morality.
Right.
So I feel like
Yeah.
it's suggesting
Yeah.
that Shiki has both this chilling atmosphere
Yeah.
and, like you said, some food for thought
Right.
about what's right and wrong
Yeah.
in extreme circumstances.
Exactly. Totally. You like to think about things.
I do.
You like to feel unsettled.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe
Well-
Shiki's for you.
Okay.
But it's interesting to me that they're kind of stripping away
Right.
the romantic element of vampires. And it's like they're really going for a
Yes.
more grounded and
Right.
potentially disturbing.
Yes. Yeah, like a genuine threat,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, 2 left.
2 left.
Number 2, another Hype Senpai says,
Yeah.
quote, "The final destination of anime literally."
Ooh.
So
Okay.
that doesn't sound good for anybody.
No, it's not.
So the core premise here,
Okay.
a cursed classroom,
Uh-huh.
a string of deadly accidents,
Okay.
and a mysterious girl
All right.
who can see death.
Interesting.
So you got like
So we got
all these horror tropes in here.
we got a cursed location. We
Yeah.
got
It's-
the inevitability of death.
Yeah.
And a character who's got this connection to it. It's just like
Mhm.
inescapable doom.
Yeah.
And it sets the stage
Right.
for this like really suspenseful narrative.
Yeah, and they say final destination.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking when you hear that?
I mean, I'm thinking elaborate death traps.
Right.
Right. Like
That one can escape.
Right. And just like that sense of
Right.
irony.
Yeah. And they say the reasons it's scary are gore suspense
Okay.
and Final Destination style deaths.
So we're leaning into the visceral here.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
This is going to be a rough one.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Final Destination comparison
Yeah.
is really key because
Yeah.
it's like those unavoidable deaths that are linked to these mundane events.
Right.
And it just makes you look at everyday objects
Right.
in a new light.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the gore just adds to that.
Right. Just that visual element that you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
some people might find disturbing.
Right. Watch it if you love high school horror
Oh, okay.
plus urban legends.
Interesting combo.
Yeah. So,
But it makes sense because it's those anxieties that we
Yeah.
all have
right.
about school.
Yeah.
And those creepy local myths
Yeah.
and legends.
Yeah. You like suspense,
I do.
high stakes.
Yeah.
Not afraid of a little gore.
I can handle it.
Another is for you.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay. So, what do you think about the curse being tied to the classroom?
Well, I think it creates this sense of dread.
Yeah.
You know, like these students can't escape it.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like,
Mm-hmm.
where did this curse come from?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Right.
Can they break it?
Yeah.
You know, and then you add in the girl
Right.
who can see death.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what is her role in all this?
Yeah. Is she gonna help them?
Right. Is she going to make it worse?
Hurt them?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
The big one.
Number 1.
On Hype Senpai's list,
Okay.
Made in Abyss.
Made in Abyss.
And this description
Okay.
is a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
Looks cute, feels innocent, but trust me,
Okay.
Made in Abyss is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Well, yeah.
So appearances can be deceiving.
Yeah. Don't let it fool you.
Right.
So the premise here,
Good.
it's this charming story
Uh-huh.
about kids
Okay.
descending into a massive, dangerous abyss.
Okay.
But the horror just gets worse the deeper they go.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
I mean, that contrast
Yeah.
between the presentation
Yeah.
and the actual content
Yeah.
is like horror 101.
Right.
Right? Like you present something innocent and happy,
Yeah.
and then bam,
Yeah.
you hit them with the darkness.
Yeah. And it makes it so much more impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're not expecting it.
Right.
And the fact that it's kids
Yeah.
facing these horrors,
Mm-hmm.
well, that it's inherently unsettling.
Totally.
Right.
And they say the reasons it's scary are body horror,
Okay.
child trauma, and existential dread.
That's a lot to unpack.
That's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Body horror.
Yeah.
So we've seen that before.
Mm.
Right? Like visceral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But child trauma,
Yeah.
it's like we're focusing on the psychological and emotional damage
Yeah.
to these kids.
Right.
And then existential dread.
Yeah.
It's like we're exploring the meaning of existence.
Right.
You know, the vastness and indifference of the universe.
Mhm.
And it's just going to leave you with this lingering unease.
Right. Like it's gonna stick with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long after it's over. Yeah.
Watch it if you liked.
Okay.
Emotional horror
Mm-hmm.
plus disturbing lore.
So again, it's like that blend
Yeah.
of emotional impact with this kind of intricate and unsettling world.
Right. So it's like they built this world.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you feel
Right. It's part of the horror.
really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. So despite the cuteness,
Yeah.
this is gonna be
Don't be fooled.
a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The abyss itself
Yeah.
is almost like a character.
Or a force
Yeah.
that's inflicting this horror
Underrated.
on these kids, and the deeper they go,
Yeah.
the worse it gets.
The worse it gets. Yeah.
It's like this relentless escalation
Right.
and a stripping away of
Yeah.
innocence,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just confronting these
Yeah.
horrible truths
Right.
about
So I
themselves.
thought it was going to be one thing, and
Yeah.
it's not that at all.
Yeah.
So we just went through
We did it.
the top 5 darkest anime,
Top 5.
according to Hype Senpai.
According to Hype Senpai.
And I
Yeah.
mean, we saw everything from like
We did.
violence and moral compromise in Hell's Paradise to psychological manipulation, and paranoia agent,
Yeah.
the slow burn dread,
Yeah.
and ethical quandaries in Shiki,
Right.
the suspense and the gore in Another,
Uh-huh.
and then that deceptive innocence,
Yeah.
hiding all
Right.
that really disturbing stuff
Yeah.
in Made in Abyss.
It's a range.
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw a spectrum.
a huge spectrum
Yeah.
of dark anime.
Right, and each of these titles
Mm-hmm.
kind of takes its own approach
Yeah.
to exploring those dark themes.
Yeah.
Using different storytelling techniques, focusing on different kinds of fear and unease.
Yeah.
And I think it shows
Yeah.
how much range anime has
Right.
as a medium
Yeah.
to delve into like all these different aspects of human experience,
Yeah.
even the really disturbing ones.
Yeah. So after this deep dive into dark anime,
Right.
what do you think is the most unsettling?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or maybe the most intriguing?
Yeah.
Is it the body horror?
Is it the psychological distress,
It's hard to choose.
the moral ambiguity,
Yeah.
the suspense,
Right.
or that like
Or the existential dread.
existential dread? I mean, I
Yeah.
think they're all
Both.
effective in their own way.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting
Yeah.
to think about like what gets under your skin
Right.
the
Yes.
most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe this will make you want to
Yeah.
explore some of these subgenres.
Right. Like maybe you want to dive into
Yeah.
psychological horror,
Yeah, psychological horror.
body horror,
Body horror.
gothic horror, or maybe you want to check out
Yeah.
Satoshi Kon's other films.
Right.
You know, he's always pushing boundaries
Yeah.
and tackling these really complex
Yeah.
and disturbing themes.
Yeah. There's a lot out there.
There is a whole
Well,
world.
that goes beyond the typical, like,
Yeah, it's not all action and
happy stuff.
lighthearted fun.
Yeah.
There's some dark stuff out there.
Yeah.
Some really thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about now?
What am I thinking about?
What's lingering?
Yeah, what's lingering?
What questions do you have
Yeah, what questions do I have?
about like fear,
Yeah.
storytelling,
Yeah.
anime?
I have a lot to think about.
I think so.
I do.
Yeah.
Thanks for this.